Aegon's annoyance began to grow as you tried your best to avoid him. He noticed that you were deliberately staying away from him, and it only made his mood worse. He decided that he had enough of your games and was going to confront you. He strides to where you were, a frown on his face. "What are you doing?" Aegon asked, his voice low and irritated. Aegon stumbled upon you as you stood on the balcony, gazing at the stars. He grunted in annoyance as he followed your gaze upward, squinting at the night sky. "The stars, eh?" He sneered as he leaned against the balcony next to you, the strong scent of alcohol on his breath. "What do you see up there, little princess?" Aegon noticed your refusal to acknowledge his presence, and it only served to fuel his anger. He grabbed your chin, forcing you to look at him. "Don't ignore me, princess," he growled, his grip tight. "I am your soon-to-be king, and you will show me the respect I deserve." Aegon's jaw clenched as you pulled away from his grip. The way you spoke to him, with defiance and a lack of respect, was infuriating. "Not yet," he snapped, his voice low and dangerous. "But I will be, and when I am, you will kneel before me and call me my king. You will be my queen, whether you like it or not." Aegon's eyes burned with anger at your defiance. He couldn't believe that you dared to defy him, the future king of the Seven Kingdoms. He was used to people bowing down to him, respecting his authority, and obeying his every command. He stepped closer to you, his body just inches away from yours. "You will," he growled, his voice low and deadly. "One way or another, you will. You will learn to obey me, princess. You will learn your place." Aegon's hand shot out and grabbed your wrist, stopping you from leaving. He spun you around to face him, a scowl on his face. "Where do you think you're going?" he demanded. "You think you can just walk away from me?" Aegon's grip on your wrist only tightened, his expression hardening. He was not used to being disobeyed, especially not by a woman. "You don't get to give me orders," he said through gritted teeth. "You are mine, princess, and you will do as I say. You will stand here, and you will listen to me." Aegon let go of your wrist, his eyes still fixed on you with annoyance. He could see the frustration on your face, but it only served to fuel his anger. He stepped closer to you, towering over you as you leaned against the balcony. "You're insufferable, you know that," he said, his voice low and cold. "You think you can just do whatever you want, and I'll just let you get away with it? Well, I won't tolerate it, princess. I won't tolerate your defiance. You will learn to obey me, one way or another." Aegon let out a frustrated huff as you continued to ignore him. It infuriated him that you weren't giving him the attention and respect that he believed he deserved. He stood there in silence for a few moments, his eyes fixed on you. He watched as you looked up at the stars, the moonlight casting a soft glow on your face. Despite his anger, he couldn't help but notice that you looked quite lovely in this moment, and he felt a pang of something unfamiliar in his chest. Aegon observed you, leaning your head against the pillar, a sense of fascination creeping in as he studied your features in the moonlight. His anger dissipated, replaced by an odd curiosity. He found himself drawn to your quiet defiance, intrigued by the way you stood against him. He moved closer, unable to resist the urge to be nearer to you. He stood a few inches away, close enough to catch the scent of your hair and perfume. Aegon's gaze flicked from the stars to your face, his expression softening slightly. "Where else would I be, princess?" he asked, his voice low and quiet. "I'm right where I need to be." He leaned closer to you, his body almost touching yours. His eyes searched yours in the dim light, trying to read the emotions behind them. Aegon noticed the slight roll of your eyes and the sigh that escaped your lips. A faint smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. He found your defiance amusing, in a strange way. It was a challenge, something he wasn't used to. He leaned a little bit closer, his breath warm on your skin. "You know, princess, you're quite annoying," he said, "but I can't deny that you're also rather intriguing." Aegon chuckled softly at your whispered response. The hint of a smirk still lingered on his lips as he continued to close the distance between you. His gaze roamed over your face, taking in every feature. He was so close now that he could feel the warmth radiating off your body. He reached up to gently touch a strand of your hair, his fingers brushing against it softly. "Annoying her," he murmured, his voice low and rough. "I prefer to think of it as endearing." Aegon watched as you quickly pulled away from his touch, your fingers running through your hair. He raised an eyebrow, his expression amused. "Are you afraid I might bite you, princess? I promise I don't bite hard, at least." His fingers itched to touch you again, to feel the silkiness of your hair between his fingertips. Aegon noticed your retreat, his smirk growing wider as you backed up towards the pillar. He advanced towards you once more, his footsteps slow and deliberate. He stopped mere inches away from you, trapping you between his body and the pillar. He leaned in, his face so close to yours that you could feel his breath on your skin. "Trying to escape, princess?" he whispered, his voice dripping with amusement. "You can't run away from me, you know." Aegon chuckled, the sound low and amused. "Insufferable, am I?" he replied, his gaze locked on yours. He lifted his hand and traced a finger along the nape of your neck, sending a shiver down your spine. "Perhaps I find your defiance just as annoying as you find me insufferable, princess," he said, his tone lowering. "But there's something about it that I can't deny makes me want to keep pushing until I break you." Aegon noticed the way your breathing quickened as he continued to tease your neck with his touch. He leaned in closer, his face hovering just above your skin. He could smell the faint scent of your perfume, something sweet and flowery. His other hand slid up to your waist, his fingers gently tracing circles on your bare skin where your dress exposed it. He spoke again, his voice soft and low. "You're not so defiant now, are you, princess?" Aegon felt your hand on his chest, pushing gently but unable to move him. He smirked, amused by your feeble attempts to push him away. "Stop," he repeated, the word rolling off his tongue in a deep, velvety tone. He stepped closer, his chest pressing against your hand as he leaned down towards you. "Why should I stop?" he whispered, his breath warm against your ear. "You're not trying that hard, princess. Or is the defiance only a mask, hiding something else inside you?" Aegon watched as you looked down, avoiding his gaze. He could see the way your chest was rising and falling rapidly, the way your body trembled just slightly. He reached out with 2 fingers and gently lifted your chin, forcing you to look up and meet his gaze. His eyes bored into yours, a fire burning within them. "Look at me," he commanded, his voice low and rough. "Don't look away. I want to see those defiant eyes." Aegon watched as your eyes softened, the defiant gleam in them fading a little. He took in the sight of your face, his gaze roaming over your features. He traced his fingertips along your jawline, his touch gentle and surprisingly tender. His thumb brushed against your bottom lip, his breath catching in his throat at the intimacy of the moment. "There you are," he murmured, his voice quieter now. "The defiance is fading, princess. Don't you think it's time you admit defeat?" Aegon raised an eyebrow at your teasing, a sly smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He let out a soft chuckle, his grip on your chin tightening just a little bit. "Oh, now you're getting defiant again, are you?" he said, a playful gleam in his eyes. "I thought you were finally going to give in, princess. But I guess that would be too boring, wouldn't it?" Aegon suddenly leaned down, his lips pressing against yours in a soft, unexpected kiss. His hand moved to the nape of your neck, his touch gentle yet possessive as he pulled you closer. Aegon deepened the kiss. He felt your body pressed against his, and it sent a jolt of desire through him, igniting something deep within him. But then you pulled back, your lips breaking away from his. He let out a low grunt of frustration, his hand still on your neck. "Why did you stop?" he asked, his voice hoarse with desire. Aegon's eyes darkened as you spoke, his lips curling into a smirk. He was amused by your defiance, even as you stood there, breathless from the intensity of the kiss. He leaned in closer, his body pressing against yours. "Don't want me to kiss you like what?" he asked, his voice a low, rough whisper. Like I mean it? Like I want you? Isn't that exactly what you want me to do, princess? Aegon's smirk grew wider at your defiant response. He looked down at you, his gaze roaming over your face, taking in the flush of your cheeks and the way your chest rose and fell with your quickened breathing. No, he said, one eyebrow raised. You don't want me to kiss you like I want you. Then, princess, how do you want me to kiss you? Aegon chuckled softly, a low, amused sound. He lifted your chin, forcing you to look up at him again. His gaze locked with yours, holding you captive. You don't want me to kiss you, he said, his voice quiet. But your actions betray your words, princess. Your body is telling me something different. The way you're standing here, your breath coming fast and heavy, the flush on your cheeks, it's all speaking to me. And it's all saying that you want me. Aegon groaned in frustration as you pushed his hand away, your denial of your desires only serving to inflame his own. He leaned his face into your neck, his nose gently nuzzling the sensitive skin just below your ear. He inhaled deeply, taking in the scent of your perfume, something sweet and intoxicating. He couldn't resist the urge to kiss your neck, his lips brushing gently against your skin. Stop denying it, princess, he murmured against your skin. Stop fighting these feelings. You want me as much as I want you. I know it. Aegon chuckled softly as you groaned and tried to push him away, his lips lingering on your neck. He could tell it was driving you crazy, the way you were struggling against the pull of desire between you. He wrapped his arms tightly around your waist, holding you captive against his body, his mouth still at your neck, planting soft, languid kisses along the sensitive skin. Not until you admit it, he murmured. Not until you admit that you want me, until you stop fighting it. Aegon's eyes darkened as you said you'd never want him, the words like a challenge to his determination to make you his. He ignored your protest and continued to kiss and gently bite your neck, his lips and teeth moving over your skin. He could feel the effect he was having on you, the way your body trembled and responded to his touch. It only fueled his desire to break down your defenses and make you admit what you were so defiantly denying. Aegon smirked against your neck as he felt your body shake and your breathing hitch. He knew he had you on the verge of losing your composure, your body betraying your words of defiance. He continued to kiss and bite your neck gently, his hands roaming over your back and waist, holding you close. His own body was reacting to your proximity, his desire for you growing with every moment, every touch. Aegon's smirk widened into a wolfish grin as a small moan escaped your lips, the sound like music to his ears. He savoured the sound, his eyes glittering with satisfaction. He let his lips roam over your skin, his kisses growing more insistent, his bites becoming rougher. His hands gripped your waist tighter, his touch possessive almost. Aegon let out a low grunt of frustration as you pushed him back harder, his body reluctantly pulling away from yours. He took a step back, his breathing heavier now, his gaze roaming over your face, taking in your flushed cheeks, and the way you were breathing heavily. He ran a hand through his hair, his eyes dark and intense. You're making this so difficult, princess, he said, his voice low. Why do you keep fighting this? Aegon's eyes tracked your movements, watching as you leaned against the balcony railing, your breathing ragged, your body trembling. He couldn't help but find it incredibly attractive, the sight of you so flushed and flustered. He took a step closer, closing the distance between you. Oh, princess, he said, his voice low and rough. You can say that all you want, but your body betrays you. Your body wants me just as much as I want you. Aegon stepped up behind you, his chest pressing lightly against your back as he leaned down to plant soft, gentle kisses along your neck. His lips trailed over your skin, his touch gentle yet possessive. As he continued to kiss and nibble on your neck, he wrapped one strong arm around your waist, pulling you back against him, his body flush with yours. Aegon couldn't help but smile as you closed your eyes and leaned your head back. exposing more of your neck to him. He took advantage of the moment, his kisses growing more intense, his teeth biting down a little harder on your skin. His free hand moved up to your hair, his fingers gently tangling in your locks, as he continued to kiss and bite your neck, his body pressed against your, the heat building between you. Your reactions were only serving to fan the flames of Aegon's desire, his body responding to yours in ways he couldn't control. He was intoxicated by your scent, your taste, the very feel of you against him. He gently pushed you against the balcony railing, his body pinning you against the stone, his mouth still at your neck, his kisses becoming rougher, almost fevered. Aegon smirked against your skin as he heard you pant and moan, his lips still at your neck. He knew he had you now, the last bit of defiance melting away as you admitted that it felt good. He continued to kiss and bite your neck, his body pressed tightly against yours, holding you captive between him and the balcony railing. His hands roamed over your waist and hips, his touch possessive and needy. Aegon chuckled softly at your whispered protest, his lips still at your neck. "Of course not," he murmured against your skin, his tone teasing. "You're just moaning and panting because you don't like me." He knew it was a lie, of course. Your body was responding to him, your words and your actions at odds. But he enjoyed the game, the way you were slowly giving in to your desires despite your defiant words. Aegon let out a low growl as you moaned, the sound only fueling his own desire. He pushed his body closer to yours, his hands gripping your hips tightly, his kisses becoming more urgent, more passionate. He nipped at your ear, his breath hot against your skin. "Such a stubborn little princess," he murmured against your ear, his voice rough with desire. "You say you don't like me, yet you're the one pressed against me, moaning in pleasure. Tell me, princess, what should I make of that?" Aegon grinned against your skin as you groaned, his body still pressed tightly against yours, his hands roaming over your hips and waist. He could feel your body trembling with desire, even as you tried to deny it. He moved his lips to your earlobe, biting softly, then gently sucking on it. "You can deny it all you want, princess," he murmured, his voice low and rough. "But your body betrays you. You want me as much as I want you." And Aegon pulled back from you, his body still pressed against yours, his hands still holding your hips. He looked at you, his eyes dark with desire, his breathing ragged. He took a deep, shaky breath as he tried to regain his composure. "Fine," he said, his voice betraying a hint of annoyance. "If you're so determined to deny your desires, then I'll leave you alone. I'm going to bed." Aegon reluctantly pulled away from you, creating a bit of distance between your bodies. He ran a hand through his hair, his eyes still on you, as if unable to look away. He took a moment to compose himself, his breathing still ragged from the intensity of the moment. "But don't think for a second that I'm done with you, princess," he said, his voice low and rough. "I'll be back, and when I am, you'll be begging for me." Aegon smirked as he looked at you, your body shaking and your breathing ragged from desire. It thrilled him to know that he had such an effect on you, despite your defiant words. He took a step closer to you, his eyes locked on yours. "We'll see about that, princess," he said, his voice a low growl. "I've barely scratched the surface with you, and I plan to uncover every hidden desire, every secret pleasure. You may deny it all you want, but your body tells a different story." Aegon let out a low chuckle as he watched you look away, his smirk widening at the sight of your flushed cheeks and trembling body. He knew he had gotten to you, that he had unleashed something within you that you were desperately trying to deny. "Until next time, princess," he murmured, his voice low and rough. "Dream of me."